Hey everybody, this is Kyle at Meistervision. Today I just wanted to go over the new Xbox One controller with a defect that I found with the actual one that I received. I purchased Day One Edition this past Friday, and I received a defective Xbox One controller. And I wanted to kind of go through the defect with you guys, show it, raise some awareness out there with it. It's definitely, I think, I relate it to some poor quality assurance there and poor build quality, and it did actually have some effect on I think the effectiveness of the controller. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you the specifics of what happened.
Everybody, this is Kyle at Meistervision. Today I wanted to kind of have a little critique of the Xbox One controller. I was lucky enough to get my hands on a new console this past Friday, the Day One Edition. And, you know, as many were, I was real excited to get it out and everything and to take a look at it. And I kind of wanted to show you guys an actual specific, I think, manufacturer defect or an issue with quality, with some sort of quality issue that probably should have been caught before they sent this particular item out for production. You can see it is the Day One Edition controller. The first thing I noticed when I grabbed the controller, I don't know if you can hear that, versus this side. These panels actually over here, let me show you. You see that? They're actually loose. This whole panel over here. There's actually like kind of three intersecting plastic panels. And this one is a little bit loose. This one here is not loose. But the problem is with these two right here, it literally is significantly, I wish I could kind of pull it apart a little bit. Do you see that, the movement right there? I mean, I wonder if I could just pop it open. I mean, I probably could. I don't know what the deal is, but for some reason these are loose. I don't know if it's a screwing issue or what. That was the first thing I noticed when I got this new controller, and I'm like, dude, you know, as I'm holding it, every time I hold it, I'm like thinking, wow, this feels cheap as crap. And like, why does this feel like this thing's about to fall apart? And you know, at first I'm like, whatever, I just want to play some games. So I get out and I play games, you know, Friday, Saturday, and over the weekend. But then I start to know maybe a side effect of some of these loose paneling. It's the B button. I don't know if you can tell. This isn't a very good. If you look at the way the A button works versus the B button sticks. It doesn't always do it, but it is stickier than the other buttons. These are much more of the clicky, springy feel to them. But the B button does not, and it does sometimes stick, depending on, I guess, how I'm holding it. And it's not really doing it right now for you, but that's actually been something that's been a very annoying deal. For these, much more responsive. This one not as much so, and I'm not sure if that's actually related to the build quality here on these panelings, the panelings actually being loose.
Okay, so naturally, as you can imagine, I'm pretty bummed that I just had what I kind of felt was an inferior product. So I went ahead and I called Microsoft on, I think it was Monday, and went over the problem specifically with them. And I even like talked to I mean, they're really nice. The tech support guys are great. I wouldn't call them tech support. I'd call them the customer service guy. And I think it was just some dude based out of Utah or something from some call center. And, you know, of course, he's like, oh, man, yeah, that's a cool gamer tag and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, we'll get this figured out. And he's like, oh, man, that's no cool. And, you know, on the phone, I mean, I could, like, sit there and hear, you know, click you know, the actual, show him the sound that it was making and stuff. And basically all I wanted was a replacement controller. That's all I really wanted. I just wanted a controller that would work just fine. And the problem was I actually did want another Day One controller because I pre-ordered, I did all that crap to get the Day One controller, so I wanted that. So that was something that was important to me. And I know also that they were having the disc problems where they were actually just sending out new consoles for people and then also hooking them up with like a free download code for one of the games. And I wasn't even like seeking for anything like that. All I really wanted them to do was to send me out another controller. And then once I got that controller, some advanced RMA where they would send me the new device, and then I'd be totally cool with them debiting me the cost of that controller, and then actually then me just drop shipping the defective controller and sending it back to them. Well, apparently they didn't want to do that. That did not sound cool. Instead, what he would let me do is they would literally advance. They couldn't advance RMA a controller, but they could advance RMA an entire system. So he was telling me that he could send me the entire brand new system, and it would go, and they would actually charge my debit account or my debit card, for the total amount of another system, and then I would have to take the controller out of there, put the defective controller in, and then mail it back. So that would be the only way that I could get it where I would have a controller without having to buy one, or I'd have to, without having to go a week or so without a controller, because I didn't want to go to the store, buy one, have to buy another controller, because I really wanted to keep playing the Xbox. So I thought that was really strange. Basically, I told the guy I just didn't really feel comfortable, putting a $500 plus transaction on my debit card. And especially receiving a whole unit, I'm thinking it could get stolen, it could get damaged when I ship back. It just seemed like a little bit of risk for me, too much risk that I was willing to take on. The guy was nice, but basically I was like, there's no way you can just, advance RMA, send me a controller, whatever. And so he talked to his whatever thing, he held on, put me on hold for a second, talked and came back, and he goes, okay. He's like, where did you buy it? And I'm like, GameStop. He's like, okay, here's what you need to do. You need to go to GameStop and tell them you got a defective control, that your controller is defective, and then they're the ones that can replace it. He's like, that's the only way that you're going to be able to get a replacement controller without having to wait to get one in the mail, and just to send yours back, us evaluate it, then send one back, versus doing the entire whole Xbox console thing. So that was the only option. And he was all like, and I'll call you tomorrow after you go to GameStop or whatever. So in short, basically Microsoft is like, go to GameStop, get a replacement from them. So I go to GameStop and they trade it out, no problem. And of course, I'm not going to be able to get a day one controller. I just settle for just having a normal controller, just a replacement controller, and they take the defective one. And I have no idea if they're actually going to send it to Microsoft to actually have them evaluate it or not, or if they're just going to put it on the resale bench. I don't really care on that. And here's my rant. This is my rant. Is in some ways, Microsoft is trying to be really, really friendly and act like they really care about the gamer, the consumer, and I think they're really, really trying to do that and at least appear that way. You hear them ordering pizza for some people that have tweeted out in line, and maybe in Kansas, they're cold, so they sent 3 boxes of pizza. They're giving some download codes for maybe less than 1% of Xbox Ones that are affected by this disc problem, and all in all, the reality of this whole situation is this was a defective product. This should not have passed the quality assurance people. This should not have passed through. They should have caught this. This is an actual defective product that, in my opinion, reflects really poorly on the manufacturing process. Now, that being said, this is a launch. It is a launch item. I understand that. They're still working out the kinks of the manufacturing process. They're still working through things. Yeah, stuff's going to happen. We get that. It's happened on the PS4 launch. It's happened on the Xbox One on launch. And you know what? It's not that big a deal, except that when you go as a consumer and you spend all this time, getting the item on launch day, and you're excited, and you spend the money and all this stuff, and you get a defective product, then I think there is some expectation on the consumer side that the company should provide some sort of, I think they should ease my pain a little bit. And so I just wanted to kind of show you the specifics of this particular controller defect, and I want you guys to be aware of it. I'm not sure if anyone else is out there has had this problem with the controllers being loose like that with those panels, and especially that B button kind of, it wasn't very clear on the video, but it does stick. I think it's more when you're holding it, but it does stick quite a bit. So yeah, I would just be curious if any of you guys have had any experiences or heard anything. Let me know. And I just wanted to get this out there, show you exactly what was the issue with this defective controller, and get the word out there, because I think it's not something that Microsoft even cares or wants to hear about. And to be honest, they didn't even want to get the controller back. They didn't care at all. They just were happy the fact that GameStop handled it. And in my opinion, when it's a manufacturer defect, GameStop should not be the ones taking the brunt end of it. It should be Microsoft handling it, which they did not do. And yeah, I'm particular and I'm annoying and I'm a gamer and all that, and yeah, I'm being a little unrealistic, but hey, what would you guys do? So anyways, let me know what you think. What are your comments on the situation? Is this just should this have happened? Am I overreacting? Do you think the controller I should expect a better controller, $60 controller. What do you guys think? And what do you guys think Microsoft should have done in that scenario? So anyways, this is Kyle Meistervision, and thanks for watching.